Hello everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I have a rather large book haul for you, and this was purely on accident, let me tell you, okay? Because I kept telling myself, I'm going to film a book haul when I get 10 books in this haul. We're now at 46, so I accidentally put off hauling books, and now I have too many. Book hauls are not my favorite videos to film because most times I go into a book not knowing anything about it, and so I feel like I can't tell you a whole lot about it. So the purpose of this is just showing you what I'm adding to my collection, and if I can tell you anything about the book, I definitely will. But let's go ahead and get started so this video isn't ages long. So these aren't organized in any specific way, I'm just hauling them in the order I got them in. And the first book I have is Sometime in Summer by Katrina Leno, and I have been following Katrina Leno and reading all of her books since she debuted, and this is her newest release. I read an arc of it earlier this year, and this book came out this summer, and it is a stunning cover. So in this book we follow a young girl named Anna Lucia Bell, and her life is full of bad luck. On the day that her parents are telling her that they are getting divorced, her mom is also closing down their beloved bookstore. So Anna Lucia Bell is going to spend the summer with her mom in a small New England town on the coast, and she expects this summer to be filled with bad luck, but something magical and life-changing might occur. So like I said, I love Katrina Leno, and this book was no different from that. It was so whimsical and fun and gave you all the New England summer vibes you could want. Katrina Leno has a way of weaving magic into her story that makes it seem so believable, and her characters are also so very real, so I definitely recommend this one and all of her books. Next I have Lightlark by Alex Astor, and I'm sure you've probably heard of this one, and this one sounds like my perfect book. So once again, it's about a deadly game, and I love deadly games. So this is about an island called Lightlark that appears every 100 years, and the 6 rulers have to go to this island and fight, maybe to the death. I know there's magic involved, but anytime there's a tournament or like a magical island, sign me up. Next I have Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne. Now Sally Thorne is probably my favorite romance author, and this one sounds so fun with a little bit of a gothic twist. So we follow Angelica Frankenstein, and she is the sister of the Frankenstein, and she has trouble finding love, so she decides to pull a little scientist move like her brother and make her perfect match. So it sounds like it's going to be hilarious, and with Sally Thorne's romance and writing, I feel like I'm going to love it. The next book I have is BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, 101 True Tales of Hauntings, Demons, and the Paranormal by Shane Madej and Ryan Bergara. And these are the two behind BuzzFeed Unsolved, if you don't know, which is one of my favorite, not just YouTube series, but like a TV series of all time. I really love them. And this is all about like the different places they've been through supernatural and going demon and ghost hunting. I've read a few in here, but they're all like stories that I've seen from the videos, so I can't read it all at once because it's stuff I've seen before, but it does have their classic humor in it, and I just love Ryan and Shane so much. This next book I actually recently read, and that is All of Our Demise by Christine Lynn Herman and Amanda Foody. This is the sequel and conclusion to the All of Us Villains duology. I loved the first book. This one was a tad disappointing, but I still had a great time. So we follow a collective group of characters, and in this world there is a ton of really cool magic. And every 20 years there is this deadly magical tournament where 7 of the top magical families send in a champion of their own, and they have to fight to the death, and the winner gets the high magic for the next 20 years. Like I said, this is a bunch of characters. We get a bunch of different point of views, and I love all the characters so much. I love the atmosphere, and I really love the magic. Next I have a book I can't tell you anything about, and that is The Bazaar of Bad Dreams by Stephen King. This is the new Stauffer and Houghton editions, and I am slowly collecting all of them, so this is the next one I added to my collection. The next book I actually had to pull out of my unhaul pile because after I read it, I decided to unhaul it, and that is All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. I love Sabaa Tahir so much, but I didn't really enjoy this book. So we follow 2 Pakistani American teenagers, and basically this is their coming of age story and trying to figure out life when they live in a place or in a world that doesn't accept them. This is heartbreaking, devastating. There is not a happy thing that happens in this. I do think it's a very important read, and it really showed me the types of privilege that I do live with, but overall I did not enjoy it. The next book was gifted to me by my lovely friend Marissa from Genre Garden. I will leave her channel down below. She is amazing, and she gave this book to me because she did not enjoy it, and that is King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. So all I know about this is that this is a spicy fantasy vampire novel, and according to my channel name, I will read anything with vampires in it, even though Marissa did not like it. This next book was kindly gifted to me by Penguin Teen, and that is Dark and Shallow Lies by Jenny Meyer Sane, and this cover is absolutely stunning. So I'm pretty sure in this book we follow a girl who is said to live in the worst place in the world if you have something to hide. It is said to be the psychic capital of the world, and her best friend actually went missing in this town. So that's all I'm going to read into it, but I am excited because it seems dark and mysterious. The next 7 books in this haul were also sent to me by Penguin Teen because I filmed a TikTok video for them all about these books and how they fit into the dark academia category. And the first book is Miss Peregrine's Museum of Wonders by Ransom Riggs. So this is kind of a guide to the Miss Peregrine's series, but this is a book that is written by Miss Alma Peregrine herself. I really love the series, and I feel like this is just going to be a fun collection. Of course, there's pictures in it, and there's also annotated notes within it as well. The next book is actually a graphic novel, and that is Coven by Jennifer Dugan and Kit Seaton, and all I know about this one is this is a witchy graphic novel. The next book is The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. So we follow a teenager, Jake Livingston, and not only is he the only black boy at his private preparatory school, and that comes with a whole lot of challenges in its own, he is also a medium, so he can see and talk to ghosts. That's pretty much all you need to know. Unfortunately, I did not really enjoy this one, so it is going into my unhaul pile. The next book is How to Succeed in Witchcraft by Aislinn Brophy, and I really don't know anything about this, but if you can see, it really does look like that it's maybe another private school, and I can tell there's witchcraft involved, and that's all I know. The next book I have actually read a million times before, and this is actually my 3rd copy I own, and that is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. This is the first book in the highly acclaimed Vampire Academy series that I absolutely love, and now it is a TV show, which I still haven't watched, but I do love the series so much. This next book I also have already read, and that is How to Survive Your Murder by Danielle Valentine, and this is one of my favorite books this year. This is a young adult Halloween slasher, and this book made me realize that I really do love slasher books. It was so bloody, so gory, and so much fun, and I highly recommend it. And the last book Penguin Teen sent to me is Secrets So Deep by Jenny Meyer Sane. I don't know anything about this, but it looks spooky, looks creepy, and hopefully it's good. The next book I have is a book that I already hauled, but before Penguin Teen sent it to me, I had it pre-ordered, and that is Miss Peregrine's Museum of Wonders by Ransom Riggs. The next book I have is Tell Me What Really Happened by Chelsea Sidoti, and this was sent to me by Sourcebooks Fire, so thank you so much. I love Sourcebooks a whole lot. This book actually comes out April 4th of 2023, and let me read it. The back says this is told entirely through first-person police interviews of 4 teens, and this riveting YA mystery asks what really happened to their friend. So I know people go missing, maybe some lies are told, but I love anything that is told in an interview style. The next book is a book I really want to read, so I went ahead and randomly picked it up, and this is also the UK edition, which I love, and that is The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. I've never read from this author, but I have heard great things. So all I know about this story is that there is this family that is staying in this cabin when a stranger shows up and says, none of what is about to happen is your fault. So that sounds ominous and spooky, and I really hope it has great atmosphere. This next book was also sent to me by Sourcebooks Fire, and that is The Stranded by Sarah Daniels, and this comes out January 3rd. So this is actually a dystopian novel that takes place on an abandoned cruise ship. So I believe they were on this cruise ship and then disease broke out, and now these people are having to live on this cruise ship, and I believe some time has passed, but I'm not sure. Oh, for 40 years. It says for 40 years they have lived and died on the water. No one is allowed to disembark ever. That sounds so good. I love dystopian. Next is the book I have recently read, and it is one of my favorites of all time probably, and that is Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the sequel to Stalking Jack the Ripper. If you don't know, we follow Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell in the 1800s, and they are fascinated by death and autopsies and forensic science. This one in particular takes place in Romania, and I thrived. I loved it. The vibes, the atmosphere, the location is flawless. Next, I have another sequel, and that is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is the sequel to It Ends With Us, and I believe this is Atlas and Lily's story of what happens after it ends with us. The next book I have is going to be really hard to hold up because it is so heavy, but that is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the illustrated edition. This one just came out this year, and I had it pre-ordered. I am collecting all the illustrated editions, and they are just so stunning. Following along with the Harry Potter theme, I have 2 memoir-type books, and that is Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton and Madly Deeply, The Diaries of Alan Rickman. So these kind of go together. They also came out on the same day. I started reading Madly Deeply, and I cried within the first line, so I know it's going to hit me really hard. And I know Beyond the Wand is just going to be so great. I really love Tom Felton, and I can't wait to read it. The next 3 books I picked up at Half Price Books, and the first one is The Real Vampires, Death, Terror, and the Supernatural by Richard Sugg, and I believe this is actually a non-fiction book, and so it talks all about like the vampire craze and how that came about. So like the introduction says vampire terror, what, when, and where, vampire stories, and just how vampire lore came to be. The next book was probably my favorite book of last year, and that is The Shadows by Alex North. So this follows a man who's returning to his hometown to go see his mother, and when he was younger in this hometown, one of his friends was murdered and another boy disappeared. And this book deals a lot with lucid dreaming. It has amazing atmospheric vibes, and the dream aspect is so fascinating to me because I am obsessed with dreams and I'm so curious about them. So the way that this was done in the story was amazing. The next book is a book I really enjoyed earlier this year, and that is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. So we follow Dr. Chloe, and she is a psychologist, and when she was 12 years old, her father was arrested for serial murders, and 20 years later, these murders are starting to happen again, but her father's in prison, and it just feels like a deja vu, so she's trying to figure out what's going on. This one had a lot of twists and turns. It was very fascinating. I really loved Chloe as a character and seeing her work through all the trauma she had to go through and how she really didn't trust anyone because of what happened to her. And the last one from that Half Price Books trip was also another vampire book, and it is huge, and that is The Vampire Archives, the most complete volume of vampire tales ever published. Oh my gosh, this is perfect for me. So we have an introduction, a foreword, a preface by Neil Gaiman. We have stories from Anne Rice, Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, and many, many more. This just sounds right up my alley and everything I could ever want. Also, this cover, amazing. The next book I pre-ordered from Waterstones, and it is a beautiful edition, and that is Layla and the Blue Fox by Kieran Millwood Hargrave, and this is also with Tom DeFreston. I believe there's illustrations in here because one of Kieran's other book also had illustrations. This is so stunning. It has sprayed edges, and then it is also signed on the inside, and then the end papers are beautiful as well. So this one is loosely based on a true story about an Arctic fox that hiked from like Europe to Canada or something like that, but along the way we also follow a little girl who is trying to find the mother that she never thought she would see again. So in Julia and the Shark, which is another book by this author, it was really emotional and heartbreaking and beautiful, and I am expecting nothing less from this. The next book is The Maze Cutter by James Dashner, and this is yet another Maze Runner book. I feel like I might be the only one left on earth that is still reading these books, but this one in particular takes place 73 years after the Death Cure. The next 3 I'm going to talk about all together, and I recently did a video reading this entire trilogy, and that is Caraval, Legend, and Finale by Stephanie Garber. So Caraval is like a magical performing circus type thing where it only appears once a year and never in the same place twice, and it is owned and run by this mysterious figure named Legend. So we follow sisters Tella and Scarlett, and they have always wanted to go to Caraval, and finally as they get older they are trying to get away from their really abusive father, and they end up going to Caraval, where Tella gets kidnapped and the winner gets Tella. So the first book I didn't really enjoy, but by the end of it, this became one of my favorite series ever. So definitely go check out my vlog if you want to know all of my thoughts, but it is amazing. Just you have to get through the first one if you're not enjoying it like me. But yes, by the end of it, I gave it 5 stars. Alright, we are down to my last stack of books, and the first book from this last stack I have to show you is Onyx by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is the second book in the Lux series, and I am purchasing these editions slowly because I have the collective bind up with the human faces on it, but I love these colorful editions, and this one is actually signed. I bought it from her website, and it was only like $10, and I just really love the series, even though it is like super cliche YA, that is everything I want. The next 3 books I got at Target because they were doing a buy 2 get 1 free sale, and the first one from that is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Now this has recently been everywhere. I've had an arc of it for a while, but I just never got to it, but this is like Katie's favorite book of this year, or one of them at least, so I definitely had to pick it up. I know that Death is a character in this, and I'm pretty sure we follow a girl. Is her name Belladonna? I don't know. No, her name is Signa. Her name is Signa, and when she was younger, I think everyone got poisoned, and so did she, but she lived, and so now Death is like, that's interesting. That is a great synopsis, I know, I'm really good at it. But this cover is stunning, and then the end pages are amazing, but like, look at the naked book. Amazing. I can't wait to read it. I just feel like I'm really gonna love this one. The next book I have is Truly Madly Deadly by Hannah Jane. I've read a book from this author before and really enjoyed it, and this one sounds really creepy as well. So we follow high schooler Sawyer Dowd, and she is the perfect athlete, straight-A student, everything you could want, and she's dating Kevin Anderson, another popular guy that everyone loves. Kevin ends up dying in a car crash, and after the death, Sawyer gets a note that just says, "You're welcome." Like, that sounds really ominous, and I'm excited. Next, I have a really popular book, and that is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. All I know about this one is we follow a girl who inherits millions of dollars from this man that she has never heard of, and when she goes to collect the money, his whole family is obviously very angry about it, and there's some kind of competition involved so she could get the inheritance. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She is one of my favorite authors of all time. Her Natural series is one of my favorite series ever, and so I'm excited to read something else from her. And the rest of these books in the haul I kind of hauled in my book shopping with me video that I just recently posted, so if you haven't watched that, definitely go check it out. I went to Barnes & Noble and Half Price Books. So these first 5 books are the ones that I got from Barnes & Noble, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. So these are not sequels to Caraval, but they are set in the same world, so they are a spin-off series, and I'm very much excited about them because I believe we follow Jax, who is a character in Caraval, and listen, Jax is like one of those bad boys that you can't help but love, and I'm so intrigued about his story. So of course we have Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then this edition of The Ballad of Never After is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which is also signed. And in my book shopping video, I didn't show you the naked hardcover, but it looks amazing. Like, can you see that? It says, "The Rise and Fall of the Valors, beloved first royal family of the magnificent North." Like, I love that. The next book I have is Set on You by Amy Leah, and this is once again one of Katie's favorite books of all time. This is a romance about a curvy influencer named Crystal. Now, Crystal kind of made her name known because she is breaking gym stereotypes, and I believe there is kind of a guy in here that she meets in the gym. I've heard that he's kind of a jerk, and some people aren't thrilled about this romance because of the way he acts to her in the gym, but Katie loves it, so I'm definitely giving it a try. The next book I have is another romance, and that is The Christmas Clash by Suzanne Park. This is one of my most anticipated releases of this year. So we follow 2 different people. We follow Chloe and Peter, and their families have competing restaurants, and it is also a Christmas book. So that is like everything I could ever want in a book. So the last romance I have is Booked on a Feeling by J.C. Lee, and all you need to know for this one says, an overachieving lawyer, a failing bookstore, a childhood friend, and the chance of a lifetime. So I love anything bookish, and this just looks so cute. And the last 3 books were also in that book shopping video, but they are from Half Price Books, and the first one I have to show you is Two Dark Reigns by Kendara Blake, and this is the 3rd book in the 3 Dark Crowns series, and in this series we follow triplets, and they grew up in different parts of the kingdom because on their 16th birthday they have to come together and fight to the death because only one queen can remain. This book also has a bunch of different magic systems, like in each part of the kingdom they specialize in a different type of magic, and it was so fascinating, just so much fun, and I can't wait to continue on with the series. The next book is a Book of the Month edition, and that is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Menansala, and this is actually a cozy mystery, I believe. So we follow this woman who works in her family's restaurant when one day a food critic comes in, and the food critic just happens to be her ex-boyfriend, and of course he dies while eating their food. So of course you're gonna suspect her because it's her ex-boyfriend. So it sounds fun. I also think there's like meddling aunties in this, so I feel like it's gonna be hilarious and just a lot of fun. And finally, we are at the last book of this book haul. It's another Book of the Month edition, and that is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. This is a thriller book, and that is all I know about it. I know that I have had this book on hold for my library for months, and so when I saw it, Book of the Month edition, I decided to pick it up. So those are all the books that I have to haul for you today. I am very exhausted, but I feel like we got through them pretty well. If you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave the pink flower emoji to let me know that you're still watching. But that is it for this video. Let me know if you have read any of these or which books I need to get to ASAP. But thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!